Good morning, students. Just before starting the class, let me give me an introduction about myself. So I am CA Vishal Jain. I am a faculty of AAA paper, that is your P level Advanced Auditing and Assurance P7 paper. So I am a qualified chartered accountant. I qualified and after qualification, I was a part of the Big Four, India as well as abroad. Okay, so I do have a work experience of somewhere around close to 6 years, and also I am a faculty of multiple papers of ACCA since past 7 years. Okay, and now today we will be discussing about advanced auditing and assurance. First, we will discuss about the paper pattern, the exam structure, and then we will be coming up to the few important concepts that you should keep throughout the paper, few guidelines for this paper, the marking schemes, and also the few rules for the conduct of live classes. Okay, so let's start the orientation lecture first. First part that you have to understand, see, before starting any paper, you have to understand what is the paper all about. Okay, so this paper is advanced auditing and assurance. The knowledge of this paper will be a carry forward knowledge of the F8 paper, that is your auditing paper. Okay, so that forms the base of this paper. Okay, now even if you have not done your F8 paper, that is you have got exemptions and you have to come directly to the AAA paper, so I assume that you already have an understanding of the basics of the auditing. And also in my conduct of my live classes, I will be discussing few things or few very important things which, though they were part of the F8 paper, but still it is relevant and makes sense here, so I'll be discussing those concepts here as well. Okay, now one thing more, like if when you are discussing F8 paper, that is your auditing and assurance paper, in that paper you might have seen that the knowledge of FR is required, knowledge of financial reporting is required. Similar manner, in this paper, when you come to AAA, that is P7 paper, not only the knowledge of auditing and assurance is required, but also the knowledge of SBR paper is required. The knowledge of strategic business reporting paper is required. So that's a must. So it is always recommended by the examining team that either you are appearing this paper along with SBR paper or after SBR paper, along with SBR paper or after SBR paper. Okay, if there is a gap, like you have appeared SBR paper way back or so and you have forgotten the concepts of those, what I will do, whatever was important and relevant from my perspective from this paper, that I will be discussing in the live class. But still, if you have any further concerns, you can reach out to me personally, we can discuss. Okay, in the group we can discuss it off. So that's the thing. Further, now let's start the understanding of the syllabus now. So our syllabus is divided into basically 7 parts. Now when I say 7 parts, so part A is regulatory environment, part B is professional and ethical matters, part C is quality control and practice management, part D is planning and conduct of audit of historical financial statements, and part E is completion, review and reporting, part F is other assignments, and part Z is current issues. So this was just the name of the different parts of the syllabus. But let's understand a brief understanding of what these parts deal about. Regulatory environment deals with the knowledge areas, like there will be fragmented small chapters in this topic, small chapters in this topic. We will set the tone of this paper, the concept of this part A, that is part A, will be required throughout the AAA paper, throughout the AAA paper. Okay, so we will be discussing the topics like money laundering, auditor's responsibility or auditor's liability in case of a compliance with the laws and regulations, auditor's responsibility in the case of fraud. All those things we'll be discussing basically. Okay, so these will be the basic topics, the knowledge areas. Okay, exam focus of which will be moderate, not that high, not that low. Sometimes examining team asks, sometimes examining team doesn't ask. It's not the case that the examining team asks part A in all the syllabus, all the exams. No, but in case of regular intervals, examining team does ask. Examining team does ask. Okay. Now, coming to part B, that is professional and ethical matters. This is the most important area of your syllabus. This most important. You will find, like, take whichever past year question you will want to, and you will find like a minimum of 25 to 30 marks coming up from part B in every attempt. In every attempt, you will find all these things. Okay. So the questions will be just like you have to, there will be case study given to you, and the question will ask, please identify professional and ethical issues or matters in the case study. And the question will also ask you to recommend actions. Okay, so in this we'll be discussing what are the professional behavior or professional code of conduct that a member of ACCA should abide to, and what are the ethical guidelines. Okay, so all those things we'll be studying in part B. Now comes to part C, quality control and practice management. What is a practice? Practice is a service that we do. Like after qualifying ACCA, there are two options open to you. One, you can go in service, and the other is you can start your practice. Okay, service is like we are working under someone, but practice is like you are your own boss. Okay, so you become a partner in a firm, or you start your own CA firm. That's called practice. Now, how do you manage it? When it comes to the management of practice, it's the decision that you accept, like decision you take when accepting a new client, or when you're or continuing an old client, or if there is an existing relationship with some client and you're getting an audit engagement now, whether you should accept it now or not. Or if there is an audit client and you're getting some non-audit services from that client, so you should accept that or not. So that's called practice management. Quality control. See, whenever we are working with a client, we have to ensure that our quality is managed, quality is controlled throughout the process of the services that we are offering to our clients. Okay, so the quality should be maintained. So there is a specific guidance that is given by ACCA to how will we maintain the quality of the audit and non-audit practices. Okay, now comes part D. Part D is planning and conducting of audit of historical financial statements. Planning and conducting of historical financial statements. Again, this is the most important area of your syllabus. This is the most important area of your syllabus. You will find questions coming up to 46 marks from this area. Questions coming up to 46 marks directly from this area, part D. Okay, so this is again a high importance. Let me highlight it for you, like which all are the areas which are high important, and which all are the moderate topics. So this is a moderate from an exam perspective. This forms very high importance. Again, this is also forming moderate. Now this forms high importance. Completion, review and reporting. So in this, once we have planned, see, whenever we do any work, there are three stages of doing it off. First, we plan things, then we execute things, right? And once the execution is done, we review and complete the work. Right? So similarly, audit is also no different. Whenever we are doing audit of historical financial statements, what is the meaning of historical financial statements? The financial statements of the latest, immediately year ended. Like let's suppose if we talk about this year, the latest year ended, or immediately the financial year which is ended is 31st March 21. So if I'm auditing the financial statements of 31st March 21 in India, that will be called historical financial statements. And when we audit this, the guidance in part D will apply. Okay, so first we have to plan the audit. and then according to the plan we have to execute the audit. That's called conducting of audit. Okay, and while auditing there might be a situation that it might not go according to the plan that we have made. It might not go according to that. Like, let's suppose we have scheduled that we'll complete the audit in 10 days, but while conducting the audit or when executing the work, we might find that there are some issues in the client, and we might have to extend our audit work for more than 15 days. So there's a deviation from the plan. So that all the guidance for all those things will be covered in part D. Now coming to part E, is just nothing but an extension of part D. So in the part D, we completed the planning and conducting of audit. Plan and conduct. Now whatever we have conducted, we will just review it. We will just review it. Review and reporting. What is the meaning of reporting? Deliverables. It is as an auditor. Our work is substantiated by the audit report. Okay, so the audit report is what is a deliverable of an auditor. Okay, so that's what defines our work. So that's covered under part E, that is a reporting part. Now covers part F, that is other assignments. Other assignments includes auditing of the you can say prospective financial statements, like future financial statements, and all other things are also there in part F, the multiple things. So this also forms a, you can say, a moderate topic. Okay, now comes part G, current issues. What are current issues? So current issue, as the name itself says, current issues, meaning thereby the examining team before the conduct of the examinations comes up with an examining article. Okay, it's not the case that before every attempt the examining team comes with an article, but whenever comes, that becomes part G. Whenever the examining teams raises any article, that becomes part G. That becomes my current issues. Okay, so we will be discussing part G if and only if the examining team comes up with current issues. Okay, or we can say comes up with an examining article. Why are we not studying other articles? The examining team must have put other articles also on the way, right? Like from the last examinations. Why are we not studying, and we are studying only the latest article? Why? Because all the examining articles, all other examining articles, we will be covering as part of our these syllabus. As part of our these syllabus. So you will find that I'll explain that thing. Okay, when I'll be explaining our structure of our class, it is then I will discuss that where will I be taking up the articles. Okay, now this is all about the syllabus of yours. Okay, before moving to the exam structure, I want to focus two things. First thing, these notes will be shared to you. If you want, you can take down the notes in a notebook as well, but you do have an option that you can take a print of it. I'll be writing all the things here and you can take a print of it, and that will be sufficient for you. Okay, other is you can take down the notes according in line with the class, but I'll not be able to give wait for you to write in the class, because I will be sharing these notes with you. So you should focus on understanding of the concepts. What is important is the understanding of the lecture that I am giving. Okay, other thing is, during the conduct of the live class, it is requested not to unmute yourself. Remain muted. If you have any query, you can post it in the group, you can post in the chat box, and I'll take up that query. If I think that that query requires a discussion with the student, I will ask the student to unmute themselves, but at the end of the class. Okay, so that's the thing. That's the structure of the live conduct of the class that we will be following throughout the classes. Okay, now exam structure. Our question paper will be divided into two parts. One will be section A. Just a minute. Yeah, one is section A, that is of 50 marks. Okay, and in this 50 marks, okay, that I'll discuss. Section A, that is of 50 marks, and it will have only one question. It will have only one question. Though one question will have multiple sub questions, but it will have only one question primarily. Now section B, that is again of 50 marks, but it will have two questions of, and one question will be of 25 marks each. So that gives you 50 marks. 50 plus 50 is 100 marks. 50 plus 50 is 100 marks. Now that we have understood about the syllabus and we have understood about the exam structure, now let's link these two. Let's link these to the paper pattern. See, the part D, that is the planning and conducting of audit, will be tested only and only in section A, that is the 15 marks, question number 1. Planning and conducting of audit will be tested in question number 1. Okay, so you will find that part D is coming up to 46 marks in question number 1. In question number 1. Okay, now comes part E and part F. Part E and part F, that is completion review reporting and other assignments. This will be tested as part of section number B, that is question number 2 and question number 3. So does that mean that part D cannot be tested in section B? Yes, part D cannot be tested in section number B. It can be tested only and only in section A, that is question number 1. And does that mean that part E and part F cannot be tested in section number A, that is question number 1? Yes, part E and part F can be tested only as part of question number 2 and question number 3. This structure is not given in the syllabus, but yes, I have taken it from my analysis of the last 10 attempts of the paper, that what the examining team is following. Okay, so this is not something which you can say is should be mandatorily this will happen, but yes, tentatively this should be the pattern. Okay, from the last 10 attempts, the examining team have followed this pattern itself. Now comes the remaining part, it is part A, part B and part C. These can be tested anywhere, either section A or section B, that is question number 1, question number 2 or question number 3. It can be tested anywhere in the syllabus. So part B you will find, I will suggest you the part B is the most important, of all the parts, part B and part D. Part B and part D is the most important throughout the syllabus of your AAA paper, AAA paper. Now comes where will part G be tested? Current issues. See, whenever I say current issues can be pertaining to part A, it can be pertaining to part B, it can be pertaining to part C, D, E or F. It can be pertaining to any of the parts. So whichever part does it pertains to, let's suppose current issue is with the ethical and professional matters, then it will be forming a part of part B. Okay, now if it's a part of part number B, it can be tested anywhere in the question paper. It can be tested anywhere in the question paper. Okay, so that's how the paper is designed. That's how the paper is designed. I hope I am clear to all of you. If you have any concerns or query, you can post it in the chat box and we will be discussing all your queries. Now, coming to time management, that's the key to success. What happens basically in the AAA paper is a theory paper. And in the theory paper, when a student starts writing the answer, they just go into the flow of it. So the question which you like or which you have the knowledge, you will just keep on writing that answer. But the question which you don't have the understanding or you don't have the knowledge of that, you will not attempt it also. Do not do that. You should define your restriction in every question. You should know your boundaries. See, the total time that will be given to you is 195 minutes. That comes to close to around 3 hours and 15 minutes. And the total marks that will be tested is 100 marks. Now, can we say that what is the number of minutes per marks? So it is 195 minutes for 100 marks. That comes to 1.95 minutes per mark. Now, section A is of how many marks? Section A is of 50 marks. Section A, question number 1, you can say. Question number 1 is of 50 marks. So how much time will I be willing to devote to it? 1.95 multiplied by 50 marks. That comes to, let me multiply it. That comes to 97.5 minutes. Okay. Now, section B, question number 2, that is of 25 marks. How much time do I have here? 1.95 multiplied by 25 is 48.75 minutes. Again, coming to question number 3 of section B. Again, this is of 25 marks. So the time that will have 1.95 multiplied by 25, that is equals to 48.75 minutes. So what you have to focus here is, see, when it comes to 97.5 minutes and 48.75 minutes and 48.75 minutes, it doesn't mean that you have to restrict yourself to this much time, but you should give yourself a range. A range. Let's suppose when you are answering question number 1, you should find that, okay, I'll have to devote somewhere around 80 to 100 minutes, somewhere around 80 to 100 minutes, and not more than that, 80 to 100 minutes. Or I'll say go on a lower hand, 80 to 90 minutes. Okay, if you plan for 80 to 90, it will reach somewhere around 95, 96. Okay, that's how you should define. Like when you are attempting question number 2 and question number 3, you should find that I have to answer it somewhere around, you can say half an hour or 40 minutes, max to max, not beyond that. Okay, so that's how you should structure your answers. Okay, and time management, trust me students, time management is the key to success. If you are able to manage your time, you are halfway through there. You are halfway there. Okay, so time management is the key to success. Now, how will this happen? So this will happen with multiple, like plenty of practice. You have to practice lots and lots of questions. You will have to practice lots and lots of questions. Okay, and we will be practicing the lots and lots of questions in the classroom also. So you should not be bothered about that. But what I will expect from you guys is the homework that I'll be giving you is not much, like might be one question per day, which will require your 20 minutes at home. That's all. So you after every class, you have to devote 20 minutes on the question and might be around 30 minutes on the revising what I have taught. Okay, so that comes to around 50 minutes. So in the weekend, we will have 2 classes. So you can say throughout the week for 5 days, you have to just study the audit for 2 hours. That's all you have to do. So that's all is expected from you. So, and do my classes properly and do this 2 hours properly. You will be there. You will be there. Okay. Now, point number 5, steps to answer a question. How to answer a question? Though I am discussing it here, but also I'll be discussing it when we will be answering the questions. I'll show how these 4 steps. I'll show how these 4 steps works. I'll show how this 4 step works. Okay. First is the read the question. Multiple times I've seen students, they don't read the question. They do not read the question, or whenever they read the question, they just read in a haste, like somewhere they have to run. No, don't do it. Read the question properly. Read the question properly. Once you have read the question, read the requirement carefully, what the question is asking. Now, you will be requiring a hint to answer. You will be requiring a hint to answer. The biggest hint in the question is the question itself. The answer that you will be drafting, trust me students, all your answers should be there in the case study itself. The answer is there in the case study itself. You just need to pinpoint it. That's all you have to do. So read the question carefully, read the requirement carefully, and according to the requirement, plan your answer. How will you plan your answer? Like, let's suppose The question is asking you identify few issues or identify few matters. So you have to read the case study and just do a brainstorming sort of stuff. Okay, and you have to highlight in the paper, the question paper itself, that okay, this is the point that I have to include in my paper. This is the point that I have to include in my paper. This is the point that I have to include in my paper. And using this, make the pointers, and when you are writing an answer, use those pointers. So what I have written here: first, read the question. Second, read the requirement. Now, find your requirement in the question. How will you do that? Plan your answer. Don't directly jump to writing the answer. No, that's a mistake that you will do. Don't directly jump to writing the answer. First, plan your answer and then build an answer. So the mistake that you do is you skip step number 3. We skip step number 3, but that's a mistake which will cost you a lot of marks. Okay, which will cost you a lot of marks. If you include step number 3 in your answering, trust me students, you will gain at least see a change of around 20 to 30 marks in your answer sheet. So step 3 is the most important part of your answering. Okay, now as part of step number 4, you have to develop or build an answer. Develop or build an answer. You can write build or develop an answer. What is this 25% and 75%? Let's suppose you have been given 97.5 minutes to write question number 1. So first you should spend 25% of the time in just reading the question, reading the requirement, and planning the answer. Reading the question, requirement, and planning the answer. So I can say for question number 1, step 1, 2, 3 will be of 97.5 multiplied by 0.25 is 24, somewhere around 24 minutes. So you have to spend reading the question, requirement, and planning the answer 24 minutes. Now, then develop your answer. The time that you have to devote here is 97.5 minus 24. That comes to around 74 minutes. So that's how you have to go ahead in question number 2 and question number 3. So here S1, 2, 3 will be E multiplied by 0.25. That comes to around 12 minutes. Then develop your answer. That comes to around 37 minutes. So that's how you have to write your questions and answers. Okay, I hope things are clear to you till here. Now, knowledge of IFRS. Yeah, see, the knowledge of IFRS will be tested as part of part D and part E. Why IFRS? See, when you conduct an audit, you audit the financial statements. And how are financial statements prepared? The financial statements are prepared using IFRS or IAS, right? International Financial Reporting Standards or International Accounting Standards. These are the standards which are used to prepare the financial statements. Now something is used, if something is used to prepare something and you're auditing that, to audit that you require the knowledge, right? So let's suppose someone has done some work, and if you have to go and audit if that work has been done properly or not, then you will have to require a knowledge of the process of how that work is done. It is then you can assess or judge if that work has been done in a proper manner or not. So similar way here also, if you have to conduct an audit of the historical financial statements, you need to have an understanding how the financial statements are prepared. You need to have an understanding of the how the financial statements are prepared. So that's why the knowledge of IFRS is required here. The knowledge of IFRS is required here. So for IFRS, as I have already told you, you can with the whatever are the most critical things that we'll be discussing in the class, and the most important, and I am assuming that you have appeared SBR paper recently, or you are either appeared recently or you are appearing SBR paper alongside AAA paper, and you do have the knowledge of IFRS. For students who don't have the knowledge of IFRS, I will be discussing crucial topics or critical topics in the class, and if you have any queries, we can discuss it in the group. Okay. Now, success formula. What are the key requirements? What are the key requirements for you to success in the exam? As I have already told you, you have to read the requirement of the question. You have to read the requirement of the question. And once you have read the requirement, you need to know how to plan your answer. You need to know how to plan your answer, because if you don't plan, you will struggle in developing your answer. You will struggle in developing your answer. You can write it as part of step number 3. Step number 3 of point 5. Step number 3 of point 5, that is planning the answer. Practice of the past exam papers. Practice of the past exam papers. This is a much required thing that you have to do. Practice of the past exam papers. Okay, so I'll be discussing almost all the past exam papers with you. Though not, I will not be answering all the exam papers with you, but yes, few of the important questions will take up in the class and answer it, and few of the important questions I will discuss the question, but I'll be giving to you as an assignment. Okay. Now, time management. As I've already told you, the importance of time management as part of point number 4. Examiner's report. That is the most important part. The most important part. Okay. So the examiner's report not only tells you what is important, but also it tells you where not to do mistakes in the exam, or what are the mistakes that the students in the past they have done in the exam that should not be repeated, that should not be repeated. Okay, so that's the importance of the examiner's report. Though you should not be worried about it, we will be taking up examiner's report alongside the questions. Okay, alongside, if you are discussing any questions, we will be discussing the examiner's report also. What are the key takeaways of the examiner's report? I will be discussing that with you, so you should be should not be worried about that. 7, the last point, no rote learning. I'll again put an emphasis on this thing, no rote learning. Let's suppose we have discussed any topic, okay, and a direct question comes to you from that topic. Even if a direct question comes to you, the examining team doesn't expect you to write a rote learned answer. Just you are writing whatever your tutor has told you. No, link the guidance given by a tutor with the case study, and then redraft your answer, okay. Rote learning will not make you, either you can pass, you can just pass by using rote learning, or also you can fail also. There is no guarantee for that. But yes, if you start applying your brain, yes, no one can stop you from passing in the AAA paper. But it's just that you have to do is from day 1 itself, you have to start applying your brain. You have to start applying your brain from the day 1 itself. Okay. So it's not that you don't need to learn anything. First, you have to understand the concepts. Then you have to learn it. Learning will automatically happen. If you understand the concept, learning will automatically happen. And then you have to align your answers. Then you have to align your answers in line with the case study given to you. In line with the case study that is given to you. I hope I am making sense here, students. If you have any queries or any concerns, you can discuss it with me. You can put it down in the chat box and then we can discuss it there. Okay, now coming to the marking scheme. See, the marking scheme is generally 1 mark per point. So if the examining team asks you, just a minute, if the examining team asks you a question that is of 6 mark, okay, then you have to write 6 points there. 6 points there. Generally, this is the marking scheme, 1 mark per point, 1 mark per point. But it might be the case that there are specific cases that for which we will get 2 marks per point, for which we'll get 2 marks per point. So this I am not telling which are the points now, which I will tell specifically in the class. When I'm discussing in the class, I'll be telling that, see, this is a specific case which will have 2 marks per point, which will have 2 marks per point. Is it clear to all of you? Now, 1 mark is there. See, now materiality. Whenever there is a data given in the question to calculate materiality, always you need to calculate materiality and comment upon it. Okay, calculate materiality and comment upon materiality. If you do so, you will get 1 marks as a bonus. You will get 1 marks. Okay, so never lose the easy marks, never lose the easy marks in the exam. Okay, these all are the marks that will make you different from the one who are passing these examinations. Okay, so majority of the students you will find will get stuck at somewhere on the range of 51 marks. But if you have to be in the position holders list, then you should focus on not losing the easy marks at least, and then these are the marks that you will score easily, and then planning to make you a robust student, so that who does all the planning and answer, understanding of the requirement of the question, and practice of all the past exam papers, proper time management, study of the examiner's report, linking of the knowledge that is there along with the aligning it with the case study and giving a well drafted answer. So all these things if you do, you will be there. Okay, so the target should be the position and not just pass. Okay, now building blocks. From here we will start building our block. But before going to the building block, I want to discuss our structure of the class. The structure of the class will be divided into 3 stages. Whenever we take up any concept, any topic, whenever we take up any given topic, we will first do the concept building of that. We will first discuss what are the important points that we have to understand in that. Okay, and we will be referring BPP book, BPP study text, that the link for that is already given to you, I hope. Okay, and we will be discussing BPP textbook. So from the textbook, we will be first doing the concept building. We'll build our concept, that what the topic says about, why it says. So we will not be discussing what it says, but also we'll discuss why it says that, Okay, so we will discuss a full proof concept building. We'll discuss a full proof concept building. Expectation from you guys will be, whenever you come to the class, you come prepared. That is, you have come after revising what we have discussed in the previous class. And one more suggestion to you guys is, let me put it down here as point number 13. Study format. How will you study? So that format needs to be done a cumulative format. What is the meaning of cumulative format? When you are in class number 1, you have, and comes to class number 2, you have to come to class number 2 after revising class number 1. When you are coming to class number 3, you have to revise class number 1 plus class number 2. When you are coming to class number 4, you have to revise class number 1 plus 2 plus 3. You will say that, sir, you have told to revise only for 30 minutes. You have given only 30 minutes to revise. Will it be possible? Yes, it will be very much possible. Why? Let's see. You will take some time to revise this thing, but if you go and revise this thing, it will take max to max 5 to 10 minutes to revise. Now, if you revise it again, see, you are revising it again, it will take further less time. This will take little bit more time, but yeah, this will take maximum time. Okay, so like as we progress in the class, you have to start increasing the timing of your study as well. You have to start increasing the timing of your study as well. So that's how you have to do. But will we, like, if we reach 25th class, so is it the case that you have to start 1 2 3 4 5 till 25 you have to revise income? No, not the case. I am telling it for a topic. Let's suppose a topic continues for 5 classes. So in the first class, revise topic. After the first class, revise topic 1. After the second class, revise topic 1 and topic 2. After the third class, revise topic 1, 2 and 3. After the fourth class, revise topic 1, 2, 3, 4. After the fifth class, revise topic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's suppose in the sixth class, new topic starts. So again, you have to start the series again. Topic number 1, class number 1, you will revise. Now, will you not revise these concepts? Yes, you have to revise the topics that you have revised in the past at a regular intervals. Let's suppose might be a case of 20-25 days. Within 20-25 days, you will revise the past concepts also. Okay. So that's how you will revise you will plan your revision. Okay. And also, if you have any queries, you can put it down in the WhatsApp group that is created or the Telegram group that is created, and we can discuss all your queries there. Okay, like I'm talking about the queries that you study and get from the chapters that we have already discussed in the class. So it will not be possible for us to take up those chapters in the live class again. Okay, but yes, if I find that that query is in the interest of all the students, yes, I'll be taking up that query in the live class. Okay, now coming back to the structure of class. So stage number 1, that is a concept building. That is a concept building. First, we will build the concept. We'll understand all the concepts. Let me write it down here. We'll discuss all the concepts. Okay. Now, after we are done with the concept building, we will be taking up technical article if there is any pertaining to this topic. So if you can recall, we told that the technical articles will be divided into 2 parts. One that is given by the examining team in the prior attempts, and the one that is given in the current attempt. The one that is given in the current attempt forms part of our syllabus area G. Syllabus area G, that is current issues. And the one that is given in the past attempts forms part of our chapter or the topic itself. The stage number 2 will taking up the technical article. Let's suppose we are starting a topic called practice management. So whatever is a technical article pertaining to practice management, we will be discussing it here. We will be discussing it in the stage number 2. So whenever we are discussing any concept, we will not only discuss the concept, but also will discuss any technical article pertaining to that. Third stage, we will be practicing exam paper, and I will be giving you important takeaways from the examiner's report. We will be discussing the exam paper, and I'll also be giving you the important takeaways from the examiner's report. Okay, so that's how our class will be structured going forward. Is it clear to all of you guys? Can you please confirm in the chat box if it is clear to all of you? Thank you, Abhinav. Others, can you please confirm in the chat box? Is it clear to all of you, or you have some concerns, or you need some clarification in any of the point that I've discussed till now? Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Now, stage number 3 already discussed. Yeah. Coming to study text, it is mandatory to read the study text. It is mandatory. Why mandatory? See, in the class when we are discussing, I'll be focusing on the concepts to you. I'll be focusing on concepts, explaining the concepts to you, and I'll be focusing, rather than focusing on what, I'll be focusing on why. I'll be focusing on why, because what is already given in the textbook. What I should focus is why that is happening, why that is written in the textbook, why that is written in the textbook like that. Okay, I'll focus on giving you the reasons or explanations behind that. Okay, so once you know the explanations, or right after the class, you will first revise my notes and then directly jump to the study text. Then directly jump to the study text and read the study text just like a novel. You are reading a novel. You should not read with the intent that you have to memorize it. No, you have to read it with an intent that you have to just read it as a novel. Read it as a novel. And if you find that you have any concerns in the study text, reach out to me. We will discuss it and we'll sort it out. Okay, though I'll be covering everything which will be there in the study text. Okay, now if I'm not covering any point which is there in the study text, be assured I'll be covering that as the part. It might be the case that I'll be covering as part of stage number 3. I'll be going with the examiner's report or the past exam paper. So there's a reason behind why I will not be covering any of the concepts. So, but once we are done with all the concepts, stage 1, stage 2, and stage number 3, and if you have any queries, we can discuss on that. We can discuss on that. I hope things are clear to you. Now, coming to class, as I have told, the notes of these will be shared to you. Still, if you want, you can start making the notes during the conduct of the live class itself. Okay, it's an option that is given to you, whatever suits the best to you. Okay, so you should do it accordingly. Yeah, so that's the structure of our class. Now, marking scheme I've already discussed. Coming to the building blocks. Building block. In this building block, we have to understand few things, the knowledge of which will be required throughout the AAA paper. Throughout the AAA paper. First thing is materiality. What is the meaning of materiality? You already know the term materiality from your AA paper. From your AA paper. So we as an auditor work on the concept of materiality. What is materiality? Materiality is a benchmark. Materiality is a benchmark beyond which, like let's suppose there is a financial statement caption. Now, what is the meaning of financial statement caption? So if you see any balance sheet and there is a term written property, plant or equipment, or there's a term written intangible assets, or there's a term written other financial liabilities, these terminologies are nothing but financial statement captions. The terminologies used in the face of you can say balance sheet, or you can say statement of financial position, or you can say statement of comprehensive income. And in the case of Indian terminologies, you can say balance sheet and profit and loss. Okay, so the captions or the terminologies that you see, like property, plant and equipment, intangible assets, or you can say capital work in progress, or you can say intangible assets under development, or you can say investments, non-current investments, or you can say financial assets. All these terminologies are called financial statement captions. Another can be from the share capital, other equity, or you can say other financial liabilities, other current liabilities. All these are financial statement captions from a statement of financial position perspective. Now coming to statement of comprehensive income, it's like revenue, purchases, changes in inventory, cost of sales, depreciation, payroll, or you can say other expenses. All these are financial statement captions. Though I assume you have already have a knowledge of this from the AA paper. Okay, now a financial statement caption is material. Okay, now what is the meaning of material? Material meaning is the term materiality is used by the auditor to assess what is the extent of work, that I have to perform in a particular financial statement caption. What is the extent or nature, and see, nature, timing and extent of work that I have to perform in a financial statement caption. How will that be defined? That is defined by the term materiality. If a financial statement caption is material, we will have to the extent of work will be increased. If the financial statement caption is not material, the extent of work will be decreased. If the extent of work is decreased, the timing that will devote to that financial statement caption will also decrease. Okay, if the financial statement caption is not material, the timing that we have to devote to it will also decrease. Okay, so the nature, extent and timing. Materiality, it defines nature, extent and timing of our audit procedures. It defines nature, extent and timing of our audit procedures. Okay, now we understood what is the meaning of materiality and how it is used. Now let's see how to calculate materiality. If you are taking profit before tax as the base, we will calculate materiality as a number somewhere around the range of 5 to 10% of profit before tax. Let me explain, then I'll give an example also on this. And post that, after completing building blocks, we'll be taking up a break and then we will be starting up with our new topic for the today. Okay, if we are taking total assets as the base, then our materiality will be 1 to 2% of the total assets. If we are taking revenue as the base, our materiality is defined will be defined by a percentage 0.15 to 1% of the revenue. And as I've already told, you will be awarded with 1 mark if you will calculate and comment on materiality. How? Let's take up an example on this. Example. Let's suppose there is an XYZ incorporation with total assets of $100 million. Okay. Now there is a PPE that is of you can say 2 million, 1.5 million, or you can say 3 million. There is an intangible which is of, let's suppose, 0.8 million. There is an you can say you can say revenue that is of 3.5 million. Okay, and there is an cost of sales that is somewhere around 0.6 million. Let's take up a hypothetical example of this case. Now what you have to do is to calculate materiality and comment. Okay, let's calculate materiality. So total assets that is given is 100 million. Now the range that is given for on the basis of assets is 1 to 2% of total assets, and you have to comment whether these areas are material or not, whether these captions, financial statement captions, are material or not. Okay, now see how this is defined. Let's take this. If you calculate materiality as 1% of total assets, and if you calculate 1.5% of total assets, and if you calculate 2% of total assets. Okay, now what is the materiality then? If it is 1% of total $1 million, this will be $1.5 million, and this will be $2 million, right? This is how the things will work. This will be how materiality is calculated. Now comes a question, that the question that comes to you: what percentage should be taken? Right? Question number 2: how to assess materiality? Question number 3: how to comment upon materiality? Right? These are the 3 questions you might be wondering now again. Okay, so let's discuss that. What percentage will be taken? See, the more the meaning of materiality is anything beyond $2 million, anything we have to test all the financial statement caption which is equals to or beyond $2 million. If we go by this logic, this becomes material, right? This is immaterial. This is again material. This becomes again immaterial. Let's make it let's make it 2.6, 1.6, 1.5, 1.4. Immaterial, right? If we go by this percentage, all these are immaterial, only revenue and PPE becomes material. Now let's go by 1.5% approach. If I go by 1.5, this is again material, this is again immaterial, this is again material, this is again 1.5, right? This is again immaterial. How we are assessing? If any FS caption exceeds 1.5, that is material, otherwise it is immaterial, right? Now let's go by $1 million approach. This is again material, this is again immaterial, this is again material. But now comes the catch here. This also becomes material now. See, it is greater than 1 million. So what happens? As we decrease the amount of materiality, as we go on decreasing the amount of materiality, the extent of work that I have to the extent of work that I have to perform will also keep on increasing. Why? Because as the materiality gets reduced, the FS captions that gets material gets increased. The FS captions that becomes material gets increased. Okay, so that gets increased. So it means the lesser the percentage that I'll take, the more work I have to produce, the more work that I have to perform. The lesser the percentage, the more the work. You can write here. Lesser the percentage, the more the work. The more the work. Now comes the question, why will we take lesser percentage? Why will we take lesser percentage? We will take percentages depending on the risk of a client. Let's suppose a client is there which is very risky. What will we go? 2% or 1%? Can you please answer, guys? If a client is risky, comparatively it is a risky client, so will we go for 2% or 1%? Can you please comment in the chat box? We'll go for 1%. Very good answer, Puneet. Very good answer, Ayushi and Abhinav. Brilliant answer. So the more the risk, the less the percentage. Let me put it down here, sir. The more the risk, the less the percentage. So let me structure it. Just give me a minute. You can write here. This will cut it from here and we'll paste here. So yeah, now this looks logical. We will take percentages based on the risk of a client. The more the risk, the less the percentage. See again, first we are telling that the percentage will be depending on the risk of the client. Now we are linking risk with the percentage. The more the risk, the less the percentage. Now we are linking percentage with the work. The less the percentage, the more the work. What does it imply? The crux is the more the risk, the more the work. The more work is required to be performed. Right? I hope I'm making sense here, guys. Okay. Now, question number 1 gets answered now. What percentage should be taken? Right? You can write here, depending on the risk of a particular client. And you can copy this here. Answer. Right? Now, coming to question number 2. How will we assess materiality? If the balance, or you can say amount of FS caption exceeds the benchmark. What is the benchmark? That is the materiality. Then that FS caption is termed as material, else it is immaterial. It is immaterial, right? This is how we will assess materiality. Now comes question number 3. How to comment upon materiality. So when it comes to commenting, we have to just comment whether it is material or it is material or immaterial. That's all we have to comment, right? So if the FS captions, again, question number 2 and question number 3 is linked, so you can write how to assess and comment upon materiality. Comment upon materiality. Now, so this is what is the discussion on materiality. I hope I have discussed in detail about materiality, but still, if you guys have any concerns or any queries, please discuss it with me. Give me a minute. Let me structure it for you guys so that if you take a print of it, it makes sense for you guys. Yeah, just a minute. On the basis of, this is on the basis of what percentage? 2%, right? Now, this is on the basis of 1.5%, and this is on the basis of 1%, if I'm not wrong. Right? I hope things are clear to you now. Guys, if you have any queries, you can put it down in the chat box. Is it clear to all of you the concepts that we have discussed so far? That's a good question that has come from Puneet. How to determine the base of materiality? It should be revenue, PPT, or etc. So, see, Puneet, that is a discussion of the F8 paper, but still, in the examination perspective, you have to see what data is given to you. Okay, you have to go by that logic. Now, if you go from a practical perspective, we have to see what is the focus of the stakeholders of the company. Okay, if the focus is on the profit, then we will take profit as a material, profit as the base. If the focus is on the developing the assets, then we'll take assets. Let's suppose in India there is a company which is in the growth phase, let's suppose startup sectors. They are not concerned on the profit, they are not concerned about the profitability, they are concerned about the growth of revenue. They are concerned about the growth of the revenue. So accordingly, we will take revenue as the base. Let's suppose there is a company called Google Incorporation, whose the parent company is Alphabet. So for that company, they are like a matured company. For them, the focus is on the profits. The focus is on the profits. So we will take profit as the base. So we will, before taking any base, we have to assess that what is the focus of the stakeholders of the company who are looking into the financial statements, what they are focused on, That's a good question, Puneet. Okay, so we will assess their focus, and then accordingly we will determine our you can say the base on which we will be computing our materiality. Is it clear to you, Puneet? Good. Now moving on to our next discussion, that is a firm of certified chartered accountants. See, a firm of certified, see there in India, if you can see a local body, like in India we have a chartered accountant firm. In like in UK also there is a local body, so like Institute of Chartered Accountant of England and Wales. Okay, so they are gone accordingly, they'll have their own chartered accountants. Okay, but a firm of certified chartered accountants means a firm which is registered with ACCA, a firm which is registered with ACCA. The criteria for registration with ACCA is at least 50% of its partners, at least 50% of the partners of what? Partners of the firm. Should be an ACCA members. Okay, so let's suppose, giving you an example, let's do some brainstorming here. There is a firm called XYZ and Co, which have around 15 partners, out of which 6 partners are ACCA. Can this be a firm of certified chartered accountants? Students, can you please answer? Can this be a firm of certified chartered accountants? No. Very good answer. So no. What is the minimum that is required? Minimum of, just a minute, answers. No. Minimum of 50% of 15, that is round numbers, we are getting 7.5. So 8 members, 8 partners, that is 8 partners should be ACCA members. Then only we can say that this firm is eligible for firm called as firm of certified chartered accountants. I hope I have made sense here and no one have any queries till now so far. So then again, recapitulating what we have discussed till now. First, we discussed the understanding of the syllabus. We just got a brief overview of what the syllabus is all about. We studied the exam structure, that the exam paper you will be divided into two parts, that is section A and section B. Each will be 50 marks. Section B will have 2 questions. Section A will have 1 question. Okay. Now, paper pattern that we have discussed here. Okay. Time management is of utmost importance. You should never forget this thing. 1.95 minutes per mark. Answering steps to answering a question is read the question, then read the requirement, okay, and then plan your answer and then develop the answer. Okay. Now, knowledge of IFRS is required. I will be discussing the critical areas, but it is expected that you have appeared SBR paper in the recent past or you are appearing it alongside. Success formula, as I've told, requirement of the question, planning and answer, plenty of practice of past exam papers, time management, examiner's report, and no rote learning. No rote learning means link your knowledge with the case study given in the question. Okay, marking scheme, as I've told, generally 1 marks per point, but it can be 2 marks per point also in the specific cases, which will be discussed in the class. Now, 1 mark for calculating and commenting on the materiality that I've told, and we have discussed in detail how will we calculate materiality and how to comment upon that. Right? Now, firm of certified chartered accountants, we discussed 50% of the partners should be ACCA members. Now, example also we have taken. Structure of the class will be our class. Basically, our discussion on each topic will be divided into 3 stages. One stage will be the concept building. The second step will be technical article, and the third stage will be the exam paper. Okay, exam paper along with the examiner's report. Study text is mandatory to be read. You have to read the study text. Class notes you can take, you can write down, or you can take it a print of it also. Study format, I've told you have to follow cumulative approach. This was all about your orientation. If you have any concerns, you can discuss it with me now, and if not, then we'll go for a break, and post break we'll be starting up with a new topic today. Guys, you don't have any queries, any one of you? No, fair enough. Okay, so we'll take a 15 minutes break and we'll resume at its 8:19 Indian Standard Time now, and we'll start our class at 8:34. We'll resume at 8:34. Welcome back, students. So today we are taking up our first topic of the lecture number 1, that is the money laundering. Okay. Now a brief overview about the chapter. Exam priority is moderate, not that high, not that low. Moderate. It gets tested, but whenever it gets tested somewhere in the range of, you can say, 7 to 10 marks. Okay, but it's not the case that it is getting tested every attempt. At regular intervals, it gets tested. From last few attempts, it has not got tested. So it becomes a high priority for March 2021, you can say, for March 2022 basically. So we'll also assess the paper that comes for September December 2021, and then on the basis till March June 21 it has not been asked. September December 21 will assess whether this has been asked or not, and then yes, it becomes a high priority for March 2022. So you should focus high on this. Okay, now as I have told all, okay, now before going to the stages, this is a part of syllabus area A. This is a part of syllabus area A, that is regulatory environment. Regulatory environment. Okay, now stage number 1, that is concept building. As I have told and discussed in my orientation, that all the topics will be divided into 3 stages. One is the concept building, second is the discussion on the technical articles if there are any, and the stage 3 will be the past exam library along with the examiner's report. So stage number 1 of the concept building, what is our objective here? What is our objective? In this topic, our objective will be to study 3 things. One is, what is the meaning of money laundering? What is the process or stages of money laundering? Okay, and the third is, what are the anti-money laundering policies or procedures that an audit firm should have in place, that an audit firm should have in place. Okay, now see, from an examination perspective, what is important is the meaning of money laundering, and what is important is the anti-money laundering procedures or policies that an audit firm should have in place. See, but whenever you have to understand anti-money laundering, you have to first understand how that money laundering is done. Okay, how money laundering is done. Though the processes or stages of money laundering is not that relevant from an exam perspective, but yes, to understand the anti-money laundering practices, you have to understand the process or stages of anti-money laundering. You have to understand the process or stages of money laundering. So in this chapter, in this topic, we'll be discussing 3 things. First is, what is a money laundering? First, then we'll study what are the process or stages, or you can say elements of money laundering, processes or stages or elements of money laundering. Okay, out of these 4 questions that have been asked in the exam, if I'm not wrong, there are 2 times the question has asked about the process, stages or elements, and the other 2 times the question has also asked the anti-money laundering policies. So this also forms important from an exam perspective, but this has not been given importance in our study text, not been given much importance in our study text, but yes, it forms importance in our from an exam perspective also, because it has been tested in the exam. Okay, now in your study text, if you find, there is a client screening process or customer due diligence is given. Okay, though we will be discussing about it, but that the discussion that is there in the detail in the study text will not be discussing into that detail, because the knowledge of that is getting carry forwarded from the F8 knowledge, that is a AA knowledge. Okay, and it is not tested in the exam. Whatever is the testable or the examinable part, we will be discussing all, whether it has been discussed in F8 or not discussed in F8 doesn't make any sense. We will discuss all the points which are important from an exam perspective, all the points. Okay, so this point, though it's a very small point, still you can study it on your own, and still if you have concerns, we can discuss that. It's just a plain text, nothing to bother about that. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to read this and come in the next class. Read and come in next class. We will discuss it then. We'll discuss it. Okay, to be discussed in next class. To be discussed in next class. Okay, now this one. Now today's class will be having an agenda that will discuss these three things. Okay, what is the meaning of money laundering, and how that money laundering is being done, what are the processes to do the money laundering. Okay, now again, if you know the processes, if you know how to do anything, then you can devise anti-money laundering. That is how an audit firm will detect that money laundering practices done by the audit client. How an audit firm will detect the money laundering practices done by the audit client, and what are the actions that are required to be taken, So you can write here, in this thing we will not only discuss the how to detect the money laundering activities undertaken by audit client, but rather we'll also discuss if something is suspected that this is a money laundering activity, how to, or what are the recommended actions by the audit team. What are the recommended actions by the audit team in the anti-money laundering policies and practices that an audit firm should have in place? Basically, we are discussing the policies or procedures or practices that an audit firm should have in place. What should the policies be comprised of, or what should be the constituents of that policy? How to detect. First is how to detect. Now, once detected, once suspected, what are the recommended actions? So these becomes my policies or procedures that an audit firm should have for first identifying or detecting the money laundering activities, and if detected, what are the recommended actions that needs to be taken by the audit team? What are the recommended actions? Is it clear to all of you? Now, technical article, we do not have any technical articles till date on money laundering. Okay, so stage 2 is nil for us. Stage 3, past exam library. Till date, we have been asked only 4 questions. Now, whenever we say past exam library, you have to understand here the syllabus of all the papers of ACCA has underwent a change beyond September 2018 papers. Okay, so you have to pay focus on the latest papers. The priority should be the latest papers. The more priority should be given to the latest papers, and the less priority should be given to the oldest papers. So this December 18 becomes our priority 1. Then June 16 becomes our priority 2. June 14 becomes our priority 3, and then June 12. So this is our priority 1, December 2012. This becomes our priority 2. This paper becomes our priority 3, and this paper becomes our priority 4. Is it clear to all of you? Can I move on to stage number 1? Please confirm, guys, or if you have any concern in the chapter overview, please let me know. when we end the class, I want all of you to end the class on a good note and you are understanding everything. You should not end the class in a confusion. Please confirm if it is clear to all of you. Fair enough. Now, let's start money laundering. What is the meaning of money laundering? Money laundering meaning. First, we'll see the book definition. This is a definition given by book. Definition as per your BPP book. Okay. Now, just a minute. Yeah. So your book says the money laundering is a process. So first we will understand what the book is trying to say, and then we will simplify the definition. We'll simplify the definition. Okay. So the money laundering is a process, by which criminals, who are criminals now, who are criminals here, who are criminals. We'll come to that. This is our question number 1. The process by which criminals attempt to conceal the true origin and ownership of the proceeds of a criminal activity. Let's first read and then I will try to understand it. Okay. So the process by which criminals attempt to conceal the true origin and ownership of the proceeds of the criminal activity, allowing them to maintain control over the proceeds and ultimately providing a cover for their sources of income. Let's understand it with the help of an example. And then we'll come back to the definition. Let's suppose there is a gangster. Okay. He asks, you can say a bribery, or you can say a threat money. Okay, the threat. He threats this. Let's ignore threat. He gets money from terrorists, right? He gets money from terrorists for doing anti-national activities. Now tell me, the money that he'll get, will he get in the bank account, or will he try to get it in cash? All these type of transactions are done in the cash. Why? Because in the cash, no trails can be identified. But if we take the money in the bank account, the trails can be identified, that who has transferred the money. Okay, who has transferred the money? The trails of the money can be identified. So generally, these type of transactions are done in cash. Now, can we say that this cash is an illegal money? Illegal money arising out of terrorist activities, right? And you can say terrorist activities is a criminal activity, right? It's a criminal activity, right? Now, the money that this gangster has got from the terrorists, is an illegal money. But he cannot use illegal money. See, he has a cash of, let's suppose, $100 million. What will he do with that cash? He has to convert this money into this money into legal money. It is then only he can use this money. How will he How will he convert this money into legal money? He will deposit. He will deposit in the bank account. He will deposit in the bank account. Now, once he deposits the money in the bank account, this money becomes legal money. The money becomes legal money. Is it so easy? Is it so easy to do? No. When we study the stages or elements of money laundering, you will find that this is not so easy to be done. This is not so easy to be done. Now let's come back to the definition. The process of converting the illegal money to legal money. Okay, which criminals? Who is this gangster? Who is this gangster? This gangster is a criminal, by which criminals attempt to conceal the true origin. How is this gangster concealing the true origin? By not taking the money in the bank account, but rather taking the money in the form of cash and then depositing in the bank account. He is trying to conceal the true origin. And ownership of the proceeds of the money received from the terrorists, right, of their criminal activity. What is the criminal activity? Terrorist activities are the criminal activities. Basically, the criminals are trying to conceal the true origin of the money that is received from the criminal activities. Okay, criminal activities, allowing them to maintain control over the proceeds. Now, what is the control over proceeds? See, if they will keep the money that they have received from the terrorist in cash, they will not be able to utilize that money. How much cash they will use? They'll not be able to use that cash, right? So if they want to use it, they have to put the money in the bank account. Right? And when they put the money in the bank account, it ultimately provides a cover for their source of income. That is, the actual identity or actual source from where this income has come up is not actually revealed. Basically, that is covered. Okay, so what is money laundering now? What is money laundering? So if we have to define the money laundering is a process. Let's write in caps. Money laundering is a process by which criminals attempt to conceal the true identity of money. And from where this money has come? Money received or generated from illegal sources, and also they attempt to convert illegal money into legal money. They attempt to convert illegal money into legal money. Okay. Now, tell me one thing. If this money laundering as a process, is a criminal activity, then the process owners, that is money launderers, are called criminals. They are called criminals, right? Am I making sense here, guys? Right? So can we say that the money laundering is a process by which the black money is converted to white money? What is black money? The money. So can we say that the money laundering is only the process of for the criminals that is coming from the terrorist activities only? No, the money on which tax is not paid, the money in which tax is not paid is also called black money, and the process of converting this money to white money is again called the process of money laundering, is again called the process of money laundering. Okay, this line we have already written, we can delete it off. Okay, you can write here note, and this is the note number 1. This is a note number, you can write here, just a minute. This is 1, this is 2, just a minute. Yeah, so this is a note. Now in the examination, do you need to mug up this definition? No, not required. This is an easy definition that I've given to you. You can use this, and also this definition also doesn't require to be mugged up. You need to understand that money laundering is a process. Money laundering is a process by which the criminals attempt to conceal the true identity of the money. The criminals attempt to conceal the true identity of money. Like let's suppose black money. Lots of politicians have black money. Will they reveal what is the actual source of money? They have taken bribes, but can they reveal that this money is coming from the bribes? No, they cannot. Whenever you are concealing the source of receiving the money, that act is called money laundering. That act is called money laundering. Basically money laundering is a process wherein you try to conceal the true identity of money, true identity or source of money, true identity or source of money received or generated from illegal sources like terrorist activity, like you can say terrorist activities, or you can say bribery, right, etc. So received or generated from illegal sources, and since this money is an illegal money, an attempt to convert this money into legal money is called the process of money laundering. Tell me, is it clear to all of you or not? The process of money, the meaning of money laundering is clear to all of you or not? If anyone have any queries, please tell me, guys. For text reading related to, Puneet has a query for text reading related to AA. Is it covered in AAA books as well? Yes, Puneet. You don't need to refer anything pertaining to AA book. So the study text which is there in for AAA is self-sufficient. Also, whatever is important will be discussed in the class. So when it comes to reading the textbook, it should be read just as a novel. It should be just as a novel or a newspaper. Just a plain reading of it is required. Once you are reading it, you should understand, okay, I have understood this in the class. I have understood this in the class. Only that sense should come. That's all. We will be discussing each and everything in the class. You should be not worried about that. Okay. Tell me if the meaning of money laundering is clear to all of you. Now, we will be moving to our second concept, that is stages or process or elements of money laundering. So till now we understood that what is money laundering. Now we will understand how money laundering is done. How money laundering is done or undertaken, or the processes or the steps to initiate money laundering activities. Okay, so the question can come in any form. The question can ask, how is money laundering done? Question can ask, how is money laundering undertaken? Question can ask, what are the processes to initiate the money laundering activities? Question can ask, what are the elements of money laundering? What are the stages involved in the money laundering? Question can ask in any form. So you should know what are the stages. So the stage one is placement. Stage 2 is layering. Stage 3 is integration. Let's first understand these 3 stages and then we'll discuss the notes for those. Okay. Though in the book you will not find anything in detail written about the processes or elements, but yes, questions have been asked in the past pertaining to this one, and also the knowledge of this is required to understand the anti-money laundering processes. Okay. Now, stage number 1, that is placement. What is the meaning of placement? See, this placement is the first step. This placement is the first step. Is the first step towards money laundering. This is the first step towards money laundering. Just let me change the color. Give me a minute, guys. Yeah. So this placement is the first step towards money laundering. What exactly is done in this? The illegal money is first placed into the system. Placed into the illegal system. How exactly? Example. The illegal money, let's suppose the money that a gangster has received from the terrorist is placed into the legal system, not illegal system. It's placed into the legal system. Okay, it's placed into the legal system by way of bank deposits. It's placed into the bank deposits. Right now, what is happening? Let's suppose I have received the money from the terrorist. So what will I do? I have the cash. So, but I cannot use cash much. Like I have $100 million of cash. I cannot use $100 million as a cash, right? So I have to transfer it to my bank account. So what I'll do, I'll go to the bank and deposit that money in my bank account, right? So bank deposits, or you can say purchase. What you can do is you can go and purchase luxury cars, or you can purchase luxury properties, right? Or you can purchase luxury cars, luxury properties, etc. Right? So this is how, like, let's suppose you have your money depositing the money in the bank account, or you went and purchased a luxury car, or you went and purchased luxury properties. Okay, so you paid by cash and purchased the property. What happens when you purchase the property? That illegal money is out of your hand now. Illegally money is out of your hand now, and what you have taken is the property. No one can say that this is illegal property. You have paid the cash for that, right? But no one can identify from where that cash has been come. Why? Because that cash is out of my hand now. That cash is out of my hand now. Don't you think the risk of being caught is very high here. The risk of being caught is very high here. Tell me, don't you think so? Students, risk of being caught is very high. Why? Let's suppose I have $100 million and I went to the bank to deposit. Don't you think the bank will be suspicious? From where this man got $100 million of cash? There is something suspicious in that, right? If you want to purchase luxury properties or luxury car, don't you think the seller will ask you, why are you paying in cash? Can't you transfer the money in the bank account, right? So can't you transfer the money in the bank account? Because when you are paying in cash, that money goes to the corresponding party. The money goes to the confronting party also in cash. So now he will be accountable for from where he has got the money, right? Basically, you are transferring your illegal money to someone else. So the risk of being caught is very high. Why? Because why? Because the bank or the vendor from whom you are purchasing will perform client screening process or customer due diligence. Right? Why? Because you will go to bank and deposit $100 million in the bank account. Don't you think the bank will do any screening of you? Like, from where have you got this money? They'll ask. Let's suppose if you are depositing $10,000 or you can are depositing you can say $1 lakh, they might not ask. But if you are depositing $100 million, that's a lot of amount. They'll definitely ask, from where have you got this money? What is the source of the funds? Why they will ask? Because there is a body called Financial Action Task Force. And all the financial institutions are the members of this body, and all the financial institutions are accountable to FATF, Financial Action Task Force. And they have to give the account that from where the money is flowing. So this Financial Action Task Force has been designed to curb the money laundering activities, to keep a check on money laundering activities. So all the financial institutions are required to report to Financial Action Task Force. Okay, so this is why all the banks will perform client screening process before taking that lump sum amount, right? So when the client does the client screening process, don't you think the risk of being caught becomes very high, right? Again, if you go to the vendor, before selling any product to the vendor, the customer or the vendor will again perform a customer due diligence. Let's suppose there are two customers. One is paying in cash and one is paying through bank account. See, the one who is paying through bank account is genuine. But when the person who is paying through cash, there are few risks. First, the currency might be a fake currency. Another risk, the counting of the currency may be again a challenge, right? The counting of the currency, because we are discussing luxury properties or luxury cars, the counting of the currency may be a challenge, right? So before accepting any currency, they'll definitely ask for the custom. The vendor will definitely do the customer due diligence, the background check, you can say, or background check of the customer. Right? Is it clear to all of you? Now comes a concept of potentially exposed person. Not potentially, it's politically. Just a minute. Politically exposed person. Does this mean that the person has political connections? No, it doesn't mean politically exposed person doesn't mean that the person has political connections. No, it does not mean, sorry, it does not mean that person has political connections, but rather it means a person who can exercise influence, like let's suppose celebrities, artists, right? Or you can say politicians, or you can say or you can say in person with social image, right? When let's suppose generally we told that okay, client screening process will be done, but let's suppose a person like an artist called, let's suppose Amitabh Bachchan went to goes to bank for depositing any money. Don't you think he will exercise influence on the bank authorities? Right? So what the bank authorities might miss on, the client screening process. The bank authorities might miss on client screening process. The bank authority might be a fan of Amitabh Bachchan, right? So the bank authorities might miss on client screening process. Or a person with social image, a person who is socially very active and does always does work for the good of the society, so it might be the case that the bank authorities has also been benefited in the past from the good work done by this person. So will he do the client screening? No, he will not do. He will get influenced by this person. So these type of person, your ACCA guidance says, these type of persons, generally the client screening process is not effective for these type of persons. So it says the standard, your ACCA guidance says utmost care needs to be taken while doing client screening process of utmost care needs to be taken while doing client screening process of PEP, politically exposed persons, right? In the short form, PEP. Utmost care needs to be taken while doing the client screening process of the PEP. Why? Because they can exercise influence. Because they can exercise influence. Tell me guys, is it clear to all of you or not, the concept of placement? Please confirm in the chat box if it is clear to all of you, the concept of placement. I have received a query from the Puneet. A builder who has sold properties in cash and then deposit the same cash in his or her account and gives the same explanation to the bank while depositing, that is the property sold in cash, will the FATF come after the builder in this case and the original purchaser, as the builder is simply doing the business in cash? See, again, till the time you are accountable and have appropriate reasons. See, when we are doing client screening process, it doesn't mean that I am telling, no, you cannot deposit cash. You can deposit, but you have to give me an explanation and a supporting documents from where you have got this money. Okay, if you are able to explain the process, you pass the client screening process, and yes, you can deposit the money. But if you cannot pass the client screening process, no, then you cannot deposit the money, because that will be an illegal money, right? If both the purchaser and the builder is answerable from where the money has come from, they are good to go. I think Puneet, that answers your query. Can you please respond? Is it clear or not? But anyone else having any queries? You can take 5 minutes time and read through what we have discussed, because if you can understand placement, layering and integration won't be a challenge. So I'll request you guys take 5 minutes time and read the definition of money laundering, the notes that I've written here, and the process of placement. It is then only I will wish to move ahead to layering and integration. It is 9:15 now. We will take up all your queries from 9:20. If anyone has queries, we can discuss, but we'll start discussing the further concepts from 9:20. Take 5 minutes time and read through the meaning and definition of money laundering and the meaning of stage 1, that is the placement. Is it clear to all of you guys? Have you read it? Please read. Uh, Abhinav have a query, clears the point number 2 and point number 3 in notes is a single table, right? Single table, I didn't get you. Can you please come back, Abhinav? Like, I didn't get your query exactly. These are the forms, these are just the, you can say, crux that I am trying to explain for the money laundering, the meaning of money laundering. That is a conversion of the illegal money to the legal money, or the conversion of the black money to the white money. Okay. Okay, so we have already discussed the placement stage, so we'll move ahead to layering. Let me change the color. Yeah. So layering forms the second step The second step or second stage of money laundering process. This forms the second step or second stage of money laundering process. Now, first, what is the objective of this process? So when we discuss objective, so can what was the objective of the placement? Objective is this one. This is the objective. The illegal money is first placed into the legal system. The objective. To make illegal money lose its true identity. Lose its true identity. How we can make it lose its true identity? See, now till now, money is already placed into the system. Money is already placed into the system. Money is already placed into the system. Now we have to do such things that, see, when we deposit 100 million in the bank account, if any regulator comes for investigation, he will see this 100 million and can ask me from where this 100 million came from. And then if I will not be able to explain, then he will conclude that as a money laundering proceeds. Money laundering proceeds. So I have to do such thing here that the money if the investigator or the regulator comes for investigation, he will not be able to trace itself. He will not be able to trace itself. Okay. So basically you can say that is remove the trails of money. Trails of money. How will we remove the trails of money? Let's suppose I have example. Deposited $100 million into bank account as part of placement. Now, this can be easily detected by regulator, right? So what the criminal do, what the money launderer does, with this 100 million, he will first purchase any property, purchase a property by paying through bank transfer, right? Now, purchase a property. Second, he'll keep the property for some months and then resell it. The proceeds of the sale of property will be invested in some business, right? Now, fourth, after some time, the launderer, just try to see what is the mindset of launderer. After some time, the launderer will sell the investments. And then the proceeds of the investment will be transferred to overseas bank account. The money transferred to overseas bank account will be received back to money launderer's account from an overseas account in the form of donations. Now just try to understand the mindset. Now just try to understand what is the money launderer trying to do with this. What is the money launderer trying to do with these transactions? He just see 100 million was first placed into the bank account. 100 million was first placed into the bank account. See how the regulator will see. Regulator will see, oh, this guy has received donations. This guy has received donations from an overseas account. Okay, this let's suppose the regulator will see if the regulator traces this transaction and as compared to regulated, let's compare two things. Scenario 1. Scenario A. Regulator traces $100 million deposited into bank account. Scenario B. Regulator traces money received as donations from overseas bank account. Right now, scenario number A, the regulator traces $100 million deposited to the bank account. Okay, now if the regulator traces this, then what the regulator will ask? Regulator will ask, from where you got 100 million? Will the money launderer be able to answer? Not answerable. Not answerable. Guilty. Guilty of criminal offense. Right? Now, scenario number B. Regulator traces money received from donations from overseas bank account. Okay, money received from overseas bank account. Okay, as donations. Now the regulator will go and see from where that overseas bank account has got the money. So the regulator finds that, okay, he himself has transferred the money. He himself has transferred the money. Now the regulator becomes suspicious. The regulator becomes suspicious. Why are you transferring the money to the overseas bank account and then receiving it as a donation? Now the regulator is suspicious that this might be a potential money laundering activity, but the regulator is not yet confirmed now. He is just suspicious. So what the regulator will try to do? He will just try to dig into the transaction. He will try to then regulator will try to dig into the transaction. Right now, if he digs into the transaction, he finds that the money was transferred by the money launderer himself. Now then he will see, okay, if the money has been transferred by the money launderer himself, from where the money launderer has got the money? The money launderer has got the money by selling of its investments. Right? Okay, if you sold the investment, then from where you got the money to investment? From where you got the money to do investment? The money, again the regulator will ask. So the money launderer will say, I got the money by selling it, by sale of property. Money received from sale of property was invested in investments. Right? So what is happening here is, there is a series of transactions that are happening. There is a series of transactions that is happening here. There's a series of transactions that is happening here. And don't you think with this series of transactions, I have just written 6 series, right? There are n number of series. There are n number of series. Sometimes it goes to 100 or 200. Okay, transferring the money to this, transferring money, receiving from this, that, the full circle is there. So what happens basically? The regulator gets confused. The regulator gets confused, and by the time just trying to dig into it, and a moment will come, the regulator will get irritated and leave it off. The regulator will get irritated and leave it off. Okay, so what is the intent? The objective is to make illegal money lose its true identity. That is, remove the trails of money. Remove the trails of money. Now, next. you can think that this is a series of transactions undertaken to conceal the true source of money, right? This is all about your layering. This is all about your layering. Tell me if you guys have any concerns in this, in the layering. See, let's see here also. Passing the money through several stages to mask its true identity is what your book says. Passing the money through several stages. We discussed several stages, right? We discussed several stages. What are the several stages, right? It can be like I have deposited the money into the bank account. From the bank account, I purchased a property. I sold the property. I made investments. After investments, I sold the investments, and then I purchased a luxury car. Then after some time, I sold the luxury car and I transferred the money to an overseas bank account. In the overseas bank account, I might purchase a property in the overseas location, sell the property in the overseas location, and then receive the money as a donation. So these are the series of transactions that are happening, right? So we can say this is a series of transactions. Now, this point is something that needs to be understood. Legal money is converted into a more secure legal money. Let's put it here. Legal money is converted into a more secure legal money. Can any one of you try to answer this logic? Why I'm saying illegal money is converted into a more secure legal money? Any one of you, please try in the chat box. Please reply. How can we say that through the process of layering in the money laundering, the illegal money is converted into a more secure legal money? How we are converting a legal money? Why is it called a legal money? Any one of you, can you please try? Not getting answers from anyone? Okay, let me explain then. But requesting you guys to please make it an interactive session rather than just me giving lectures and you just listening to it. It won't help you guys much. So whenever I ask questions, it's a request to you guys so that please respond to me. It will help you guys in planning the answer. That is step number 3 when you are writing your answer. That is, read the question, understand the requirement, plan your answer. So whenever you answer my questions, you are making yourself ready to plan the answer. Okay, put your brain to work. Now, why I'm saying legal money? See, when the money is placed into the legal system through placement, the illegal money becomes legal money. What is meant by this? Now, see, what we are doing here is question number 1. Question number 1. Why this is called as legal money? Question number 2. If this is a legal money, if this is already a legal money, then what's the need of layering? Let me cut it from here. Yeah. Answer. See, when the money is placed into the legal, when the money is illegal money is paid, when the money is placed into the legal system through the placement process, the illegal money becomes legal money then and there itself. The illegal money is done becomes legal money then and there itself. Okay, illegal money. So you can say illegal money becomes legal at the stage of placement itself. Okay, now if I'm saying that the illegal money becomes legal at the stage of placement itself, then what's the need of layering? Can anyone try? What's the need of layering then? If it's already a legal money, then what's the need of layering? Very good, IOC. Very good, Avinav. Exactly, Puneet. All of you answered very correctly. We are doing layering to conceal its true source if it gets picked up by the regulator, right? So we are just trying to conceal the true source. This chapter of money laundering is not basically a chapter. It's just a chapter based on logical. If you can logically think of it, you can answer anything. So just think of it, okay? And you will find answers for all the queries. Okay. Now, why is this a legal money? You understood. Why, if this is already a legal money, then what's the need of layering? You understood this also, right? Now, is the process of layering clear to all of you? Okay, fair enough. Now let's move to integration. Let me change the color. Puneet, layering will work only if we are lucky and did not get the caught during placement. Yeah, very correct. So it is if we are lucky enough that we are not getting caught in the placement, okay, it is then only layering will be possible. Perfect answer. That's why I have told that it's in the placement, the risk of being caught is very high. Because if you get caught at the stage of placement itself, there are not requirement of layering, and integration is not itself required, because that will not be see, there are two things. One is at the time of doing the transaction, other is at the time of reporting. We as an auditor will not be available at the time when the transaction is being done, but we as an auditor will be available at the year end on the reporting dates when we are auditing the financial statements, right? So we will not be available at the time of placement. So we assume that the placement is done successfully. Puneet. Okay. Now, if the placement is done, we are identifying the layers of the transaction that has been undertaken to conceal the true source of money, right? We are just identifying what are the layers that has been set, layers one above another. Okay, what are the layers that has been set? Then we'll just unwind the layers. And come to the true source of identification. Is it clear, Puneet, now? Okay. Now let's come to integration. So integration is the last stage of money laundering, last stage of process of money laundering. It's the last stage. Okay. Now, how is this done? How or what is this done basically? First, you have to understand what is this done. What is the objective behind this stage? Objective. The objective behind integration is the illegal money is so well blended into the system that no one can segregate which is illegal money or which is legal money. So basically, this is not an actually stage, not actually a process. Stage 3 is not an actually an stage. You can say this is the result of placement and layering. Result of placement and layering. So we have done the layering in such a manner. That the illegal money is so well blended into the system, that no one can segregate. No one means no one. If I say no one, it means to say the money launderer himself. No one means regulator, auditor, and the money launderer himself. Even it makes money launderer believe that this is a legal money. This is a legal money. This is not an illegal money. This is a legal money. Okay. The layering has been done to such an extent. that the money launderer comes to a situation that he believes that this is not an illegal money. This is a legal money. This is called a stage of integration. Tell me, is it clear to you or not? Let's see what your book has to say for this. So we have already discussed layering, so we will be removing it off. Okay, integration. Your book says back to the legal or legitimate economy stage, where the launderer believes that the legal money is so well blended into the legal system that it is difficult for anyone to segregate it. It seems as if this is the legal or white money. We have discussed all these things. Tell me, anyone having any concern in the stage number 1, 2, and 3? If anyone have any query, please ask and we'll discuss, and then we'll move to one specific point and we'll wrap up our class for today here. And anti-money laundering we'll be discussing in the tomorrow's class, next class. If anyone have any queries, please discuss. Okay, so yes, from Abhinav. Okay, now going back to business models. Okay, again, this business models, just as I am getting this inference from the past exam papers. Okay, not specifically a point in your study text, but yes, can you tell me business models? Any one of you can give me any example, a business model where there is a very high risk of money laundering? Any one of you can give a business model? Real estate. Good. Any others? Retail for gold. Very good. So basically, why real estate? Why retail for gold? Because these type of business work on a cash-based business. These type of business are cash model. The model of the business are cash based. Okay. and you can say the real estate industry. Because why real estate industry? Because the inflow and outflow of money, the volume of inflow and outflow of money is very high. Okay, and in the process of layering, we have got to know that the money launderers use sale transactions in the luxury properties as a method for doing the layering, right? So the example for money laundering, for the business model which are most prevalent in the case of which is a high risk of money laundering is cash based business, like restaurants. They are cash based business, like cinema halls, right? Like you can say sports club, like you can say real estate industry, or you can say gold sector, retail for gold. Very good answer given. Retail for gold. Very good. So all these sectors, it can be any. The list is not complete, cannot be completed. It's just an illustrative list that I'm giving. So all these type of business where the cash. So the crux, if I have to say the crux, cash-based business is at a high risk of money laundering. Is at a high risk of money laundering. Right? Can I say this? The cash-based business are at a high risk. You can say our business are at a high risk. Are at a high risk of money laundering activities. Tell me if it is clear to all of you or not, guys. Yeah, fair enough. So will not be taking up the concept of anti-money laundering activities because it will take time. It requires a minimum of half an hour, from half an hour to 45 minutes for me to discuss anti-money laundering activities, and I don't want to discuss and leave it in between. So what I'll do, I'll just discuss the meaning of anti-money laundering activities, and we'll wrap up our class for today here itself. The meaning of anti-money laundering activities. See, this is the guidance given by ACCA in sorry, just a minute. ACCA rules book. Okay, this guidance is, again, you don't need to go and refer ACCA rules book. This guidance is a part of your ACCA text, study text. That is the BPP study text. It's a part of your study text. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of anti-money laundering activities? What is the meaning of anti-money laundering activities? The anti-money laundering activities means, see, we know that the audit client that we are having might have done the money laundering activities. Just a minute, guys. Okay. They might have done money laundering activities. So to trace that money laundering activities, the audit firm has to put in place some policies or procedures that can track those money laundering activities. So what are these policies and procedures? These are the policies and procedures to track money laundering activities. Okay, let me write here meaning. The policies and procedures to track money laundering activities. Right? And if anything is tracking something else, it becomes anti-money laundering activities. Right? So what are the anti-money laundering activities that an audit firm should have in place to track the money laundering activities? This is the meaning of anti-money laundering activities. Okay. So this is, so we will be discussing the process in the next class. What are the anti-money laundering activities? And this is what the majority, the most important part of this chapter. Okay, so I'll be requesting you guys, so please revise whatever we have discussed till now from the notes that I'll be sharing with you right after the class. So please discuss it, and then we can take ahead, from the next class, we'll take up anti-money laundering activities. And since in the stage 2 of our class structure, we do not have any technical articles, so we will be directly jumping to stage number 3, that is past exam library. So out of this, I will be discussing with you 2 exam questions, and I'll be giving you the other 2 as an assignment. So for today's week, this week we'll be meeting on Saturday. So for you have 5 days time. In these 5 days time, you have to study point number 1, point number 2. That's all. Okay, that's your homework. This is your homework, and this is also your homework. That's all for the day, guys. Thank you. If anyone have any queries, they can ask me. Yeah, notes will be available in the portal. Puneet. Anyone have any queries? We can discuss the queries now. Okay. If not, okay, fair enough. Please, we'll be wrapping up the class now, and please revise whatever we have discussed today's class, so that we can revise it in the next class and then take it forward. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye bye.